Now I would like to welcome Kastenhofer. She will be talking about epistemic, social, cultural and regulatory implications of technoscientific convergence. Thank you.
Thank you for the short, quick introduction. So this is now a change of disciplinary scenery to the science and technology studies and technology assessment. This is also an invitation for the next 8 or 10 minutes to focus on convergence as if it were a thing. So my background in technology assessment, we have been faced for the past decades with convergences of many kinds. And there is, of course, also the idea in SDS, Science and Technology Studies and Technology Assessment, or the discussion whether we could have something up our sleeves for the next convergence. Is there something that we can generalize for convergences concerning the issues, for instance, that should be addressed? There was fortunately yesterday already a talk by Tarja Knuttila and Johannes Jäger on convergence on this rather abstract level, and this is also contributing on the same perspective. So convergence is not a new issue. It has been taken up in science and technology studies for quite some time, and there is this cyborg Bible that is very prominent in SDS, written by Haraway already in 1997, focusing on the convergence of the life sciences and of the technosciences. Also, convergence as a label has entered the innovation regimes in both the US and Europe throughout 2 reports. The first by Rocco and Bainbridge for the National Science Foundation, asking for funding mainly of converging technologies, nanotechnology, biotechnology, information technology, and the cognitive sciences. And there has been a reply from the European Union via a high-level expert group report chaired by Alfred Nordmann, a philosopher of science and technology, called Converging Technologies, Shaping the Future of European Societies. And there is a very notable also focus on the European context and how convergence in Europe might be a different kind of convergence as compared to the US-American take on convergence. And you can see that it's not only the nano, bio, info and cognosciences, but also the social, anthropological and philosophical philosophies that are invited to contribute here. So I will be talking about what convergence are we talking about, then also what might be the challenges with this kind of convergence, and what might be responsive as well as responsible strategies. What convergence? There's many kinds of convergences packaged into what we have listened to yesterday and today. It's a convergence of disciplines. And there's a lot of discussion about interdisciplines and being in an interdisciplinary era now in the sciences. There's also a convergence of science and engineering in the form of technosciences. There's a convergence of the natural and the technological, of the living and mortal, and the non-living that might go to waste afterwards, which is growingly important also when you discuss sustainable development. The convergence of the healthy and the augmented and enhanced, we had that during the past talks. A convergence also of facts and visions. There is an idea of visioneering that goes with this convergence discussion. And a convergence, we might also say, of the present and the future, because there's a lot of promises in the field that might link the present action to future visions, or visions of the future. What are the challenges that we face in this kind of multi-convergence? There are certainly epistemological challenges and practical challenges. There are also challenges within the scientific community regarding professional identity and community. There's a challenge of communication and trust, public trust, and there are challenges of regulation and governance. First issue, the epistemological one and the practical one for us scientists doing convergence. This is well known, the problems of interdisciplinarity, the problems of interacting with each other, making sense together in an interdiscipline, being trained in different disciplines, maybe or not, maybe even being trained interdisciplinarily. I do not have to address this too much because all of us have our own experiences in this context. And there is, of course, a call for collaboration also with artists, philosophers, sociologists that are experts of interdisciplinarity in their own ways. There's also an epistemological and practical challenge of multiple orientations. So it's not only about epistemics, it's not only about creating knowledge, it's not only about better understanding, but it's also about better interventions, about control and construction. It might also be about therapies, about healing and helping, and it might also be about precaution. In some aspects, these multiple orientations might be synergistic. In other aspects, they might also be antagonistic. So there might be a trade-off between understanding and control, and there might be a trade-off between precaution and therapeutic orientation. And I just took this picture from a publication from about 13 years ago already. Then there is also the issue of trust and mistrust. This is a growing issue also since the pandemic, but also due to other factors. When science and technology converge, this is also often a convergence not only of science and technology, but also of university, industry, and government. So governmental funding is, for instance, more targeted. Industry does invest in the data that are being produced or in the technological applications that are being prepared. And there's also, of course, the university-based research. What we have experienced in the past, and this is the case of biotechnology, that there might be a spillover of mistrust. So the public might have mistrust in big international companies, and this might spill over to also the perception of university-based research. And there is still a big discussion about that. There was an interesting paper as early also as 2001 from Claire Marius in the UK, and she wanted to also investigate what this mistrust, where does it come from? And one of her main arguments is that it is not a mistrust in science, but maybe a mistrust in the major actors that the public sees involved in this kind of activities. And the list is even longer. There's also the migration of issues between the different technological fields or fields of science. There's evolving issues and nascent issues. For instance, we used to have playing God and the question of responsibility in the context of biotechnology. But there's also in the context of AI the issue of explainability and interpretability. And these issues we see now converging, migrating, and creating new kinds of issues in combination. So we need also, from a technoscience assessment point of view, a pooling of expertise. And we have a new kind of reflexivity here that is arts-based and very interesting also to follow. And there, last but not least, how much time do I still have? Okay. The bigger governance challenges. So what happens to the modern division of power if science and technology, if industry, government and universities merge? Our institutions are really based on this division of power, and if we have this kind of convergence, we are somehow at odds how to approach regulation. There is an endless but not arbitrary list of options when you, for instance, converge the life sciences with the information communication technologies. That is endless, but it's not arbitrary. You might have also, in this endless frontier, a proliferation of prevailing hegemonies, because there's so much room to set new rules, and it might be those in power, the systems in power, and also the strategies that are most powerful that take over these new areas that are created by convergence. So what we need here is a new kind of reflexivity, embedded reflexivity, but also institutionalized reflexivity that goes beyond what we would normally see in so-called normal science. what we can witness is a kind of extended ethos represented in my presentation here by the emergence of an ethos of digital humanism. That is, it is a very new phenomenon to have in this kind of setting. There's also a specific kind of expertise like the sociology of hopes and expectations. So how do visions also steer our present behavior and become very powerful, although you might say from a natural science perspective they are not facts, they are only visions, but they are very powerful in our societies. And there's also interesting approaches at post-normal science and post-normal governance that would have to go with these convergences to cover the terrain that is opened up by this endless frontier of convergence. Thank you.